All right, guys, we will get started here. Welcome to Advanced Reporting Tips and Tricks. So we will do a little in HawkSoft and a little in QuickBooks, and then we'll take some questions. My name is Courtney Lee. I am with HawkSoft Managed Accounting Services. For those of you that don't know, we just provide outsourced bookkeeping for HawkSoft clients. So we will just dive right in. And if you have any questions along the way, raise your hands and Ken will come over with a mic so that way the people that are watching virtually can hear the questions, because as I found out last session, I kept forgetting to say that out loud. So if you could just raise your hand and Ken will come over with that mic for you. Okay? All right. So we will just dive right in. So starting in HawkSoft, and these are accounting reports, by the way, but if there are any other that you would like to see, please just let me know, okay? So the first one that I will say is a big one that I find that a lot of people don't know about, and you may or may not, is the Trust Accounting Summary Report. And so if you go to Accounting and then you go to Trust Accounting, and I'm just going to open up an old receipt book here. This is your typical trust accounting receipt book, right? If you click Summary, it will actually break it out for you in a bunch of different ways. So you can see this is summarized by the type of payment. You can summarize it by, this is payments, and then by pay method. You can do it by agency, bank account, CSR, office, pay method, user. That might be super handy if you are maybe trying to figure out, how to quickly summarize how many checks you have and you're trying to take a bank deposit to the bank. This could be helpful. And then this here, each one of these will summarize it by payee, user, CSR. So you can really get an idea of the different payments that you've taken, what they were for. Was it for an invoice, a payment? Was it a company payable? What was it? You can also do it by income account. So if you wanted to see how many agency fees you had, or in this case, an NSF, you can break it out by that income account as well. All right. So that's the first one I wanted to start with, because I think this is super duper helpful that you can use on a daily basis. All right. Another one is if you go to reports and your advanced reports, you have a bunch of memorized reports here. So there are renewal reports, you have your claims reports, your active clients, your current book. Any saved reports that you have will be down here at the bottom. So if you ever create a custom report, you can save that and memorize it, and it'll pop up down here at the bottom, so you don't have to recreate that report each time. To create a new report, you would go to New Report up here. You can choose your policy type. So if you're looking for a specific policy type, or if you want to have doesn't have an active policy in any of these, you can do that there. You can choose how that report is sorted, so by policy, claims, clients, any of that information. So we'll just leave it sorted by policy here. And then you have the option to add, I think it's 5 or 6 filters. So one that I see a lot whenever running a commission report is a lot of people want to see, because commissions download as new or renew, right? So what if you want to see what was rewritten and not what it wasn't necessarily new, it was a rewrite. So you can actually go and do by client source, and you can choose here rewrite, and it will pull up all of your actual, anything that has a source of rewrite. Okay, and then you can add any other filters that you want. Maybe you want to see how many were rewritten by office or by agent. Maybe they have a specific policy title. Anything you want to add there, and there are, like I said, 6 filters that you can add on any report. So you can really get this report, very specific. Here is going to be your report layout. You can click and drag any of these in any order, so you can add and remove. So maybe you don't want to see the quoted premium. You can remove that. Maybe you do want to see that quoted premium. You can actually come in here, and there are tons of report fields that you can choose from. It breaks it out to where if you want to see a phone number, you can, choose which phone number you want. Okay, there's agents, 1, 2, and 3. Commissions, you can break it out by agency commission, last reconciled date. So we'll just add this just here. All right. Then whenever you're ready to see your report, you just click finish. And it will run here. And as you can see here, so these 3 policies have the source code of rewrite. And then you can see here the agency commission that's been received on them. And you can see anything about it. Quickly here, you can actually right-click on these reports. And this is actually really any report that you run, you can right-click and hit View Client. And it will take you straight to that client. Sometimes it'll say launch, but view client, launch client, same thing. It'll take you straight to that client and to the policy that you've actually selected. Okay. And then, of course, you can do a summary as well, and you can choose how you want to summarize this report. Okay. Any report that you run, you can save it, you can print it, or you can export to a report. This report will then open it up to where you can save, as it'll automatically default to a text, but you can change it to a CSV and you can export anything to an Excel file. Any questions so far? How are we doing online? All good? All right, awesome. Okay, and then let's see. You can also go to, I'm sure as most of you are familiar with Agency Intelligence. Agency Intelligence, you can, there's a bunch of different options here. You can do policies in force. You can group it by many, options, CSR, none. If you group it by none, you can actually open it up and you can see all of your policies that are currently active. Again, you can right-click any of these, view your client, send emails from here, print statements. You can also, again, save as a memorized report here, or you can export the information into a CSV or a text file. All right. And let's see. The other thing is commission reports. So let's talk about commission reports a little bit. With commission reports, when you are running a report, you have a few different options, and those options being you can sort it by carrier. This, when the report runs, it will show you how much commission was received in the date range or the period that you've selected, and it's going to tell you, it'll summarize it by carrier. So you received X amount from this carrier, X amount from this carrier, and then whenever you actually click on that carrier, it will open it up and give you a detail of all those policies below that. You can do commission by office. So if you have multiple offices, you can do it that way. Same thing as the carriers. It's actually going to break it down by the office. It'll say you have, this much commission for this office. And when you open it up, it'll give you a detail. The agent commission, of course, is going to be your producer reports. That's going to tell you how much your producers earned during that period. And then a do not summarize report is, I think, super important to run each time you run your commission, even if you do all these other reports, because it's going to tell you every single policy. So if an agent is missing and it wouldn't have shown up on maybe the agent commission report, it'll show up here on the do not summarize. If it has no commission on it, it'll show up here on you received commission but no commission payout. It'll be here on that do not summarize. So basically, it's just an overall every single thing that you received. And then from there, you can actually you can sort it however you want, because then at that point it goes into an Excel file. You can export it to an Excel file, and you can sort it, filter it, however you want to view it to make it easiest. You can filter it by agent paid date, reconciled date, or your statement date. I recommend always doing the agent paid date. That's just how we think that it works the best personally in my department. The agent paid date is going to be, whenever it's reconciled, it'll be what date you wanted that agent to get paid on. So whether you're using a date range or a specific paid date, that's the best way to get that. Because if you have a statement date and you say, as long as everything is dated for that one date, you might pick it up. But if you accidentally click another date, or the statement date was on the 1st instead of the 31st, you might miss that one. The date filter is just when do you want to see those commissions for? So a date range, the previous week, previous month, current year. Just like most reports, you can filter it for whatever date range works best for you. All right. And let's just see. All right. So that's commission reporting. Any questions on commission reporting? Yes, ma'am. He's going to come around. Oh, in the back.
How would you run an unreconciled commissions you have not yet received from the carrier, like they've skipped over?
Okay, so in commission accounting currently, or the reporting currently, there is no way to say, okay, so you're supposed to receive $100 total for commission. There's no way for us to run a report that says you have received $50 of said $100 commission. What we can do is we can run a report that says what you have received commission on currently. So we run a report and it'll say you've received the $50, but it won't tell you you're supposed to be receiving $100. It'll show 0. It will show 0.
Anytime you run a transaction, even if it's a non-premium transaction, say you add a driver, it creates a reconciliation line. So you're getting false zeros on those.
That's accurate.
So there's no way to get it?
There is not. No, not at this time. No.
Is that in the works?
Any other questions? Oh, I'm sorry. Ken, is that in the works? Okay, all right, yeah. I know that they are revamping the accounting a lot, and there's a lot in the works and a lot that we would like to accomplish, but it is coming from managed accounting. It is a complaint that we hear a lot, and it would be super beneficial even to my department. So it is something on our radar that we are letting the developers know that is needed. So hopefully it'll be coming at some point. So, all right. Yeah, false zeros. Yeah. All right. Anything else there? No? Okay. Oh, yes, ma'am. Oh, he's coming up. Hold on. That way you don't have to repeat the question back because I'll forget.
Is there anything in the works to where you can get like a reconciliation for commissions versus just a report? That way there's no overlap of dates that would cause something to be paid twice?
I don't know of anything like that, but so basically what you're saying is that sometimes it could be reconciled twice.
Well, there's not really a reconciliation. I mean, if you put, like, if we pay on the 25th, every month we pay our agents. If you had miskeyed and put the 24th or the 26th or something like that on one of your premium reconciliations to where then you upgrade it or, send it to the commissions, when you print that report, there's nothing that like selects those transactions and keeps them from ever showing up again. Like in the other management systems we've used, they have a reconciliation. So you're checking off the transactions that you have actually paid that agent on, and there's no way that you can pay them again. Where with a report, if you don't have dates correct, you could potentially have the same transactions showing on last month's as the current month's.
Okay. I don't know that anything is really in the works, but you've got the right guy sitting next to you. So hopefully he's hearing you and your suggestions and things like that. So, but I am familiar because I have worked in for example, QQ. I know QQ is that way. And so I have seen that. So I'm familiar with what you're talking about. But currently there is nothing that would prevent that.
Like an actual commission reconciliation versus a report.
Right. So
Yeah.
we have the actual reconciliation, but what you're talking about where you would like click it off a transaction and it prevents commission from being paid out on that again, we do not currently have. No. She knows, yeah. You
Yeah.
Agency management system, so. Oh, no, I was just nodding with her, being able to know what you paid the producer, and you can match what was paid, and you can check off what you did or did not.
Right, yeah. No, currently the only way to be able to tell what commission has been reconciled on a policy would be to either run the report that shows how much commission you've received on it, which I can show you, or to, if you open up the actual commission, hold on, let me, this way. If you open up the commission accounting, you can see here the transactions that are reconciled. But as far as having a report that runs that tells you what, has, like, you cannot receive any more commission on this one, there's nothing currently.
I have a different question.
Sure.
Do you have something on for the agency for what's been invoiced to show what you've paid the producer or should be paying the producer?
So the way that we reconcile agency bill, or the way that we recommend reconciling agency bill, is based on in your balance sheet off of your retained commission and trust. So the transfer account, let me just pull it up here. Timed out.
Is that in QuickBooks or
It is,
HawkSoft?
it's in QuickBooks.
Okay.
So, and it's gonna kick me out here because I timed out. So give me just a second to get back in. So in QuickBooks, if you go to your balance sheet and then toward the bottom, there's your transfer account, which is where your retained commission goes. It's where your agency fees go. That is how we reconcile currently for our set of customers that we work with. And this is the best way that we have found, is that you open your balance sheet, you run it for the date range, the month that you're trying to reconcile. So let's say this one is for September. You would come down to your transfer account and you would open up the retained commission. And so these are the two items that you would need to reconcile the commission on. So Marilyn Merck, and you need to reconcile these two transactions. And that is how currently, and that's based on, this comes over based on what was invoiced in HawkSoft, because this information comes from the invoice that was exported over. Does that answer your question? It does. Okay, good. Then you were hoping, yeah. Right. Yeah, and so for example, when you reconcile this in HawkSoft, you can run a producer report, but it's just not going to differentiate which is direct bill and which is agency bill. You would just have to do that based on the carrier. You would know the difference between a direct bill carrier and an agency bill carrier, maybe. That's true. That is very true. Yes, sir.
I will say that for cloud accounting, we are planning on making it so that this part is a little easier in the future.
Yes. So that is in the works. So yay! All right. Okay. So this next little part, if there's no more HawkSoft questions right now. Okay. The next little part is going to be, if you were here, my previous session might be a little bit redundant, but maybe we'll have more questions. So reporting in QuickBooks. QuickBooks has a bunch of standard reports that they feel like people use a lot. And you're going to have 3 that are going to come standard starred on any QuickBooks account. It's going to be your AR, your balance sheet, and your P&L. All right, and then of course below that you can scroll through and you can see that there are tons and tons and tons of reports, all of which are customizable. Your custom reports can be found here in this custom reports tab. Anything that you save will show up here. And then your management reports, these are created by QuickBooks. You have a basic company financials package and you have an expanded company's financial package. These are really cool, I think, because they you can customize them to where they can look like a cool little package. So if you need to send a bank each month a copy of your financials, it kind of comes over as like a nice, neat little package. So we can just view a set here. And this is, so this is sort of how they would look. So it says, management report for the test agency for the period ending in December 31st, 2021. It asks, who prepared them. And you have a table of contents, so it tells you what all is included. And then, of course, it has your P&L, your balance sheet, and then your statement of cash flow. So I think that's kind of cool if you have anyone important that you need to send, any reports to. That's a nice, pretty little thing you can do. You can also do your expanded company financials. It's very similar. It just has more reports. Obviously, this one's 12 pages instead of like the 3 or 4. This one actually includes your AR and your AP. So if you are utilizing QuickBooks for your operating as well, you can obviously see your AP and all of that in here. All right. For any report in HawkSoft, you can customize it a couple of different ways. You have your customize here, your obvious customize button here, and you can choose your report period. Of course, there's tons and tons of different reporting periods that you can choose from. You can choose your accounting method. HawkSoft works on an accrual, but if you work on a cash, you could change that over. You can choose your columns that you want to see. Do you want to see totals only? Do you want to see it by month, by quarter, by year, by vendor? If you have an account that's in your chart of accounts that you've never used and it shows up as zeros, you can choose to exclude that. So we don't want to see those zeros. You can choose that here. You can set up filters. You can filter it by a specific vendor, customer, product or service. You can change your header, so if you need to customize it to say something different, or anything there, you can change. You can type here whatever you'd like. All right, and then of course you can change your alignment. So the other way, this is a lot of the same thing. You can choose your period, choose how you want your columns to be displayed. If you want to choose a different period, you can do year over year, previous year. Let's see. And then, of course, your cash versus accrual. You can choose there. So the other thing you can do is you can add notes at the bottom. You can edit your titles. So if you want certain section titles to be different, you can change that to say anything you want. All of these fields are customizable. And then any report can be saved. So if you just hit Save Customization, you can change your report name. So maybe this is, this is how I like to see my balance sheet. So we're just going to say Court's balance sheet because it's how I like to see it. If I wanted to add it to a specific report group, yes.
So I see that you're showing us QuickBooks Online. Are some of these reports available on QuickBooks Desktop as well? They
are. So all of the reports are available on QuickBooks Desktop as well. They just look a little bit different. Yep. You can add a new group if you want to add a new reporting group, and you can choose who you want to share with. So if you want to share it with everyone, your accounting firm only, or if you want to share it with your with the community. If you share it with the community, that is basically, it's not sharing your data, but it's basically sharing the report structure with the QuickBooks community. So anyone can see that. So if you think you've, created this beautiful masterpiece of a report that, all these people would love to use, you're welcome to share it with the community. And then if you click Save, back over here in our report list, you'll see here the customized report has been saved. So each month, whenever you go in, you actually don't have to recreate that report. You can actually you can run it. You can export it as a PDF, and it's going to, so this one's a date range of last month. It's actually going to run it for that last month. So you don't even have to open it up. You can just hit, didn't mean to click that. You can actually just hit export as a PDF. And it's going to open up your PDF run based on the date range that you have saved. All right. Any questions right now? How are we doing online? Good online? Okay. All right. Let's see. You also have your performance center. Your performance center here is going to show you basically how you're performing. Your AR, your AP, your expenses, and your revenue. You can change all of these as well. These reporting, date ranges. You can export your charts. You can edit the charts. The charts can be, renamed, the period. You can, how you want to group it. You can also add filters to these. You can filter it by employee, items, customers, income. And then you can also compare against a time period. All right. You can also change how you'd like to view it, vertical bars, or if you want a trend line, whatever looks the most appealing to you. And then, of course, you can save it and customize it, the name. All right. Let's see. Any more questions? Anything anyone is interested in seeing? Because I can show you just about anything. Let's see. All right. So the other thing that you can do is an activity report. So your activity report, we'll just choose. Oh, let me just type. You can choose it by user. So this is basically going to tell you what they've done in HawkSoft. Again, with just like any other report in HawkSoft, you can add your report fields, what you want to see. There are, again, tons and tons of different options to choose from, and all of these with the little plus signs, of course, you can break out. Once this loads, we'll see what it looks like. All right, while that loads, we will move on to our receivable reports. So we have customer receivables in HawkSoft. You can run a bunch of different reports. You can run a customer balance summary. This one will tell you what is due as of the current date. You have a customer balance detail. This one will show you the detail of the balances due. So the summary obviously is going to be just what's due. This will tell you a little bit more about what's making up that balance. You have your unapplied credits and payments report that would be super helpful to run if you have a lot of instances where maybe you receive a payment, but they didn't apply the payment to the invoice. So that would be a good one. An unpaid invoice report. So any invoices that have not been paid, past due, a paid invoice report. And then the invoice report is going to be everything that you have invoiced, whether it's paid or unpaid. And then, of course, your customer statements. So your customer statements are going to be something that maybe you want to send out monthly. It's just an open receivables report that you can run. If you run an open receivables report, it will run it for every single customer. All right, and then while that one's running, we'll flip back over here to your activity report. So this is basically like an audit log. You can run and you can see exactly what happened by user, at what time, what they did, and so on and so forth. Again, most of these reports you can summarize, and you have your options there of how you'd like to summarize it. Say we'll do it by agent. All right. So this will break it down, and it'll say, this agent did this, and of course you can click on it and open it to display that client. All right. see, where's our other report here? Here's our accounts receivable. Well, it didn't run it. All right. So I clearly don't have any open balances in my test database here. So if we go to an unpaid invoice report, you can actually open it based on due date, paid date, past date. But basically any report that you run in HawkSoft, you're going to have these filters that you can choose from. And then, of course, again, your layout, how you want it to look. So if there's something that you want to see or don't want to see, etc. All right. Any questions? Reports are pretty, that's pretty much it. So is there anything that any of you have any questions that you have been wondering? The one thing I will run really quick, and I should have done this earlier when we were talking about it, but in your agency intelligence report, if you want to see the commission that has been received on a policy, you, like we were talking about earlier, where we can't see currently, that X policy is supposed to have $100 in commission, for example, and you've only received $25 of that $100. But we can see what has been paid on those policies. Unfortunately, like was stated earlier, sometimes there are some false zeros that are populated. But if we are looking, we should have a good idea of what we're looking for. So if you go to policies in force, and then you can, I like to do it by none. That's just my favorite way. Open it, double click it, open it up, and you're going to see all of these items. You can actually choose here in your report layout to add the commissions. And then we'll just rerun it here. And you'll be able to open every single policy that's active and come over to, I believe it's here at the commission. You can see $965 of commission was received on this account. And then these here, obviously, these are the zeros. Ideally, this would be you've not received any commission on it, and then you can investigate why. Yes, as long as agency bill has been reconciled, it will show that it's been recorded with commission on it. Because when you do the agency bill reconciliation, you run the report. I'm sorry, can you repeat your question?
Oh, just this report, do you see agency bill and direct bill?
Yes, so you do. So if you run it, once the commission has been reconciled, so when you go to your balance sheet, you open your transfer account and you go into HawkSoft and you do that manual reconciliation, it will show up here that it has commission received. Yes, ma'am. Any other questions? No? Okay. All right. I will show you quickly in case you don't know this, and if you have any questions in the future about how these reports are run, and I'm sure most of you hear this all the time, but here if you click your question mark and you go, wait, not on this one, sorry. If you click your question mark and you go to the training videos or the training guides, you can search reports. If you search by a keyword, let's see, we'll just open one up here. You can actually search if you just type like commission. It will actually pull up the training guides, how to do, or if you type reports. And so I just want to throw that out there for you. So if you come away from here and there's a question you had and you can't remember the answer, how to save a memorized report, all of that, there are tons and tons of different ways you can run reports and how to do them in the help system. So, and they are always, updating and trying to keep this current and add as, new reports are made and things like that. So, all right, how are we doing online? Anything? Good? All right. Awesome. Well, I must just be a great teacher. No. Okay. All right. So let me think if there's any other. For your company accounts payable, I will run really quickly. Let me think. You can run it all company payables. This here, let's see. Of course, there's none in this year. So if you run an all company payables report, you can do it by unpaid, paid, or all. This is obviously going to be your unpaid, your paid, and all is going to show you every single thing. Here in your filters, you can filter it by agency fees, balance waived, your carriers, unearned commission, any invoice items that you have. And then if you don't select anything, it'll show you everything. And then, of course, here, your filters, you can choose your payable paid date. You can choose your agent, client. There's customer ID. If there's someone specific that you're looking for to pay, it might make it easier to just click that customer ID, and you can put a range. And then once you click next, of course, like all the other reports, you can change your layout and how you want to see those. If you want to simplify it, you can add, subtract, whatever you need to do there. And then once you hit finish, it'll run your report. Okay. All right. All right. Well, dang. I zoomed right through that. Okay. Well, if there are no other questions, are there any trust accounting type questions that you might have? I can answer those as well. Any burning trust accounting questions? No? Wow. You guys are great. Okay. Well, I will give you some time back to go visit the exhibitors. Don't forget to go visit them. Don't forget to wear your masks. And have a great rest of your day. All right. Thank you, guys.